So what happens is when I pull this starter cord here, it's going to turn the flywheel. At the same time, the spark plug initiates a spark and ignites the air and fuel mixture. And that's going to start the engine. And then you can use this engine to power your snow blower and take some snow off your driveway.
Alright, so now we'll talk about the throttle, that's right here. And then we'll talk about the governor. The governor controls the fuel intake. The throttle, what it does is when you increase the throttle, you increase the amount of fuel that's going in or increase fuel intake. That also increases tension, increasing the fuel intake. And also it increases the RPM and thus your horsepower. If you push down the throttle, it decreases tension, reduces fuel intake, decreases RPM, and then decreases horsepower overall.
So I'll be talking about the carburetor, and this is where it takes in gas and oxygen, or just air, and it creates an explosion so that the engine can run. And then this is the choke, which just increases and decreases how much power it's producing. So this is the air filter, and all it does is basically filter big particles like rocks and dirt and stuff like that from getting into the carburetor. And when you increase the fuel throttle, you move the connecting rod so that it increases the fuel intake.
So next we have the exhaust system. So what happens is as the cylinder's pumping, these push rods move up and down, boom, boom, boom. And they push up through here, through into these holes. Boom, push up into there. And what happens is, under this valve cover, there are valves. And these push rods push up against those valves, and when they push up, the valves push down and cause these valves here to open, releasing exhaust.
This is the camshaft right here. So as the engine turns, this will turn with it. And ultimately what the camshaft does, as this spins, it'll take these, go inside a hole. And as this spins, it'll spin, spin, spin. Then once this notch comes up, it'll push up on it. It'll push these up into the holes, like this, up and down. And it'll push the push rod. And that's what runs the exhaust mechanism, pushing the intake valves, or not intake, exhaust valves. This is the crankshaft. So what it does is an explosion happens up here with the gas. That pushes down on the piston and it'll spin the crankshaft. These are counterweights on the crankshaft to cause equilibrium in the engine to reduce the unequal distribution of weight. So that'll push this. And when it pushes this, this goes around and around. And this will spin.
Hello again. So what happens, this is the piston right here. So the piston here, it pumps up and down. And the piston is actually very complex. Well, it's very simple, but it's complex at the same time. So these piston ring grooves here hold the piston rings. So I can easily slip it onto here. And what they do, their main purpose is to seal the combustion chamber and prevent it from leaking the gases in here to the crankcase. And the bottom piston ring actually has it has another function, and it is known as a scraper, and it scrapes oil from this cylinder chamber here, cylinder casing, and it scrapes oil from it, and it releases it back into here, lubricating the whole piston.
As the engine runs, the excess exhaust from the gasoline shoots up through this valve when it is opened. it then escapes through the muffler.